Tape is flashing like that's my DVD. Oh, hi.
Oh, we live? Sorry.
Didn't see you there.
I was just a little embarrassing.
Facial. We're live. We're with Josh Onysko of Pangea Organics, who makes a whole host of organic skincare or cosmetics within the world of cosmetics.
Yeah, I mean, it's called skincare in the U.S., but if you go globally, cosmetics can cover color cosmetics, and cosmetics in the U.S. usually means makeup specifically.
Right. You don't do makeup.
Not yet.
No, but maybe down the road. Josh is part of a Boulder company, and they're on a tear, and we're big fans, and so we really wanted to have him on. And I tweeted out that he's the Julian Assange of cosmetics, and I think that's kind of a joke, but in some ways it's true. You know, you got into this. And you got into it through your mother?
Well, I decided when I was 22, I think, or 23, that I wanted to move to Bombay. And I was living in Jackson all the time. And I called my mom and told her I was moving to Bombay. And she freaked out a little bit and definitely thought I was going to get killed while I was over there.
Right.
I went home to visit her before I left. And she had bought a coffee table book on how to make natural soap. And I read it and decided as a bonding project I was going to make soap with her. And I went out to Whole Foods and bought the ingredients. And we made a batch of soap. And I took off to India with a couple of bars in my backpack, and I ended up traveling for 2 years, and fell in love with the soap and decided that I wanted to start a company that emulated what I think and still do think what corporations need to be embracing as corporate moral values.
And when you started to look into what was in soap that most of us are buying,
yeah. Well, what shocked me is as I started formulating products, I started realizing that the entire cosmetic world, or 99.9% of the cosmetic world, is expensive carcinogens. And there's over 100,000 ingredients being used.
That's the kind of stuff. That's the Julian Assange kind of stuff.
Well, I'm a whistleblower, but I'm not just blowing the whistle. I'm making a solution.
Stuff. Yeah, you're making
I'm
stuff.
making a solution. I'm saying, look, this is what's out there. Here's a product that gives you better results than the chemicals. It's affordable, and it's here. But at the same time, I'm trying to inform people that literally these chemicals that are being used in skincare have not been tested by anybody.
And so that makes me worried now because we just applied a facial mask before the start of and it's my first one. But what's going on with this stuff that's on my face?
You know, this is our #1 selling product. It's an acai goji berry matcha tea mud mask. And,
easy for you to say.
It's basically a superfood smoothie for your skin. It does everything. It's anti-aging, it's anti-inflammatory, it's detoxifying, and it's made with 3 different seaweeds that we hand harvest in the Pacific Northwest. In fact, you can go on YouTube and Google Pangea seaweed, and there's a video that comes up of me and the harvesters actually going out for low tide and harvesting the seaweed.
So the seaweed that's on my face, you were out there getting some of this stuff?
Absolutely.
That's cool.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of stuff that's in cosmetics that people are just starting to become aware of.
Well, 95% of your average cosmetic product is a filler. So it's a petroleum-based filler where we take a different approach. We say your skin is your largest organ, period. It's absorbing about 87% of what you put on it. So shouldn't you be feeding it food? And so every ingredient we use is food.
When you explain it in that way, for me, it just clicks.
Well, it makes sense. You're feeding your skin.
It does make a lot of sense.
Like, do you want to feed?
But I haven't thought of my skin that way, And I think it's part of the same reason why I would, want to spray some industrial cleaner on the tub before I got in, because I feel like there's a barrier between me and that stuff.
87% absorption rate. So do you want to feed your skin polysorbate 80 and cocomaltopropylbutane and methyl ethyl propylparaben, or do you want to feed it acai and goji berries?
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, it sounds better to feed it the latter. But what's the problem with feeding it some of the stuff that we're feeding it?
A lot of it is carcinogenic. I mean, tons of it. When I go into people's houses that even tell me, oh, I'm all natural, I only use natural products, I'll find on average about 100 different carcinogens just in their bathroom.
And how is that possible?
It's unregulated.
Why? How is it possible that in the U.S. it's unregulated?
We sell cigarettes, don't we?
For most people, well, and tobacco specifically has never been under the FDA's oversight. But we think of it as the only thing that's not. How is it that?
Well, I mean, look at the food industry. You know, in this culture, we feel like anything that has a barcode on it is on a shelf, is someone's checked, right? But look at our food systems. 95% of what you buy on the shelf is loaded with things that aren't good for you. They're causing obesity. They're causing all kinds of health problems. But that's regulated. You know, look at the pharmaceutical industry. Like, people always think that the FDA is regulating skincare. I'm like, to be honest, I wouldn't want them regulating skincare.
And so they never have had any oversight over skincare?
Nope.
There is no FDA oversight?
No, unless you're making a medical claim, like SPF is regulated, but only regulated to make sure that it's actually delivering an SPF. It's not regulated saying, oh, you shouldn't be using sodium hydromethylglycinate because when it is applied to the skin, it goes into your bloodstream, it turns into formaldehyde.
Because it's the Food and Drug Administration.
Right.
It's not the Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Administration. Right. And a lot of people think it shouldn't even be Food and Drug, that's too much to put under one. You know, in many countries, they split the two up.
Yeah, and we should here.
Probably
but
should.
Food is becoming drugs in America.
If this is food for your face, does at some point, does cosmetics belong under some sort of food administration?
I feel like it should be, yes. But again, I think at the end of the day, the libertarian side of me is saying the consumers need to control this market. The consumers need to say, no, I'm not going to buy these things that are bad for me and my family anymore.
Yeah.
I'm going to start supporting these other things, and that's what I call boycotting. Boycotting is by far the strongest power we have as a culture. You vote with your dollar. If people's dollars start going to products that are actually doing you and the planet good, then people are going to change. The corporations are going to change.
Did you invent boycotting?
I started using it about 7 years ago.
Term?
I tried to buy the site, and some church on the East Coast owns it, and they said they'd sell it to me for $1,000, but I didn't have the money at the time.
We could, crowdsource the money and buy it.
Yeah,
it's
let's do it. Let's partner. You want to start a company?
I will. Well, no, I don't know if I want to start a company, but I think we should probably pull that site out of that church.
Well, boycotting it should be a blog where people say, I buy this product because I don't want to buy this product anymore, and I can 50% of what things I buy in my life, I boycott them.
It's a little like Carrot Mob too, right? You know what Carrot Mob is? Carrot Mob's that idea where instead of boycotting, you do the opposite. And it's a carrot, and everyone descends on something that's really good and just buys the crap out of it.
Like the underwear
to teach them a lesson.
The underwear I'm using right now is organic, and they donate 10% of the profits to I think a series of 5 different nonprofits. But the best fact about this company, PACT, P-A-C-T, is that the product is actually better than anything that's on the market. Yeah. And that's where the sustainable organic industry needs to go. If you're going to put out something, make it better than anything that's on the market. Yeah. Don't put out something that's subpar and think that people are just going to buy it because you're doing good. Like, put out something that works better, that feels better, that's priced, competitive.
Well, I think that we've been taught, and going back to the world of skincare, we've been taught that things need names like those that you rattled off to be effective.
Absolutely.
That chemicals are effective.
But so is
better skin through science. Better everything through science, right?
But science and organic actually are married in the products that we make. All the way that we compose a product is not just saying your average natural product is, a surfactant, which is what bubbles up, and then there's a preservative, which is toxic, and then an emulsifier. And then there's this whole slew of organic ingredients in it, and it's basically an extract. And they just put it in there to create window dressing so that when you read the ingredient deck, you're like, oh, it looks organic, because you see so many organic ingredients. Yeah. You miss the sodium hydromethylglycinate, the cocamidopropylbutane, and the polysorbate 80. How
do you convince people that you could move from that world of petroleum-based cosmetics to something like what you do?
We basically just sample people. Once we give someone a sample, it's like you can go on to Sephora.com right now and read the reviews about our eye cream. Eye cream is like the holy grail of what people are looking for in performance-based cosmetics. And there's hundreds of reviews of people that were shocked that after a decade of using eye creams from $50 to $300, it was the organic one that worked better. And it's simply because the ingredients we're using are high performance. I always say the longest clinical trial in the world is Mother Nature. These ingredients, if they're used properly, have had to go through millions of years of you know,
But it's new that you swap them on your face. That's relative.
Yeah,
Like they're
relatively new. No, it's thousands of years old. Cleopatra was making cosmetics. She made some of the first emulsions.
I mean, we don't know how hot she was.
She looks beautiful all the time.
Yeah. Yeah. And she preserved well as well, which
2,000 years later, no crow's feet.
Yeah, different process. So one way to feel better about the chemicals that I'm not putting on my face is to say, okay, I trust these guys, right? But you're talking about some transparency here too. What do you do as a company to be transparent?
Well, number one, we believe in listing everything. This is another thing that's not regulated. Legally, you're supposed to list everything that's on your product. And here's a good example.
Legally, you are supposed to.
You're supposed to.
Okay.
Here's a good example. How many people have gone to a hotel and they're like, ooh, there's Aveda or Bliss or whatever, and they take all the little bottles and they stockpile in the house? Well, something the consumer or the guest doesn't know is that is not the product you think it is. There's 3 main companies in the U.S. that buy brands and their scent, and they put some even more toxic ingredients in there to make a really cheap product, put the scent in there, and then the brand, and that's it. And because it's not for resale, they don't have to list the ingredients. And so, you know, most hotels will only spend...
So don't steal hotel
stuff. Yeah, because it's even more toxin than the actual product.
That was the only place I got anything.
Yeah. I live my life out of 1-ounce bottles.
Yeah. So it's required or expected that you would list ingredients, but not everybody follows it. And then there's another big sort of loophole within that, which is fragrance, right?
Well, there's several loopholes. So INCI, INCI is the International Nomenclature for Cosmetic Ingredients.
You can tweet in questions to @FearlessForce, and I'll check them out here. So if you've got any questions for Josh, tweet them in. Sorry, go ahead.
INCI is the International Nomenclature for Cosmetic Ingredients, and it means you list the common name and then the Latin name. And that way, anybody in the world that buys our products from here to Hong Kong can tell exactly what's in the product. So the first loophole is no one's really checking to make sure. So people always come to me, well, I found this product, it's really clean. I look at it, I'm like, well, it is clean on the bottle, but they're not listing their preservative or their emulsifier. How's a consumer ever going to know what either one of those are? The second loophole is cosmetic ingredient companies rename ingredients. For example, when parabens became the big craze on the market, people started creating new preservatives that were natural. One's sodium hydromethylglycinate, which always says derived from soybean oil, but it's actually a precursor to formaldehyde. The other one is Japanese honeysuckle extract. This one's classic. It's actually just a paraben that a company started making, and they use some kind of honeysuckle extract, but 90% of the time it's actually just a methyl ethyl propyl paraben cocktail. And you go to the market, you're like, oh, it's, you know, X, Y, and Z, like vegetable emulsifying wax. The consumer thinks it's peas and carrots.
I'm never going to know what all these names are, you know? Like, as you rattle them off, I don't know what other people are like, but
No, everyone's like that. I mean, the simple rule is if you wouldn't eat it, you can't pronounce it, don't put it on your skin.
No one knows that rule, though.
Well, now 62,000 people know it.
Simple rule that, people now know. So don't put it on your skin, because your skin is absolutely going to absorb it.
Well, 87%.
And do you think that cosmetics and what we've been putting on our face has any connection to some of the health issues that we've been...
Absolutely. I mean, absolutely. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, if you look at the ingredients of deodorant, I mean, just the concept of antiperspirant is putting heavy metals into your glands under your armpit that are where your lymph nodes are actually excreting waste, and we're blocking that. And people wonder why we get cancer. You know, I mean, it's like we're blocking the body's natural systems. It's insane. Yeah. I mean, I heard recently that some people are starting to inject Botox into their armpits to seal up their sweat glands so they don't sweat anymore. And I'm like, hello, breast cancer, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, but that's where our culture is going.
It's like trying not to poop and pee in a way, right? Like, that's not going to work out. No. You really want to get some of this stuff out.
Exactly. I'm like, if you're going to apply chemicals one place, you at least want to let them leave at some point.
Yeah.
You know? And
why are we blind to it, though? Like, why is the culture?
Because we believe advertising. We believe the models and the celebrities selling products and all the big magazines, and that you're going to look like this if you use this product, and it's all smoke and mirrors. You know, most of the products out there will give you a result for 4, maybe 6 hours tops. And, you know, the way people should be treating their skin is our products will deliver those results, but what we're preaching is this is lifelong health for your skin.
This stuff is really starting to burn now.
My face is melting.
I'm kidding.
The goji berries.
How long should I leave this on though?
You know, on the directions it says 15-20 minutes. I leave it on for an hour. So I should maybe
start to think about taking it off. You leave it on for an hour.
Yeah. Hot bath, glass of wine, some chocolate. Put the mud mask on.
You live life pretty well.
Yeah, I do that like 4 or 5 times a day.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, we had talked a little bit about shampoo, and I said like I take Ivory soap and I rub it on my head, and like that's my shampoo move. And you didn't think that was so. I
mean, if it works for you, go for it. But I mean, the problem with using soap in your hair is that the pH is normally about 9.2. So you're going to dry out your hair. It's also disturbing the natural function of your scalp, which is where a lot of your sebaceous glands are, and that's where a lot of hair loss comes from. Obviously, you don't have any hair loss, but a lot of people, you know, over shampoo their hair, which causes your sebaceous glands to secrete more sebum, which is the oil that your skin produces, which instantaneously causes hair loss. And that's what a lot of people know. I think only about 30% of hair loss is like the genetic, process.
Really?
A lot of it is just bad nutrition.
Yeah.
Not enough essential fatty acids. You're not balancing your systems properly, and you're just. I mean, how many people shampoo their hair every day? I shampoo maybe 3 times a month, maybe.
So someone tweeted in and asked if you guys make deodorant, given the fact that deodorant.
We don't. What I use is our toner, which rebalances the pH, which is where a lot of BO comes from. And then I just use a couple drops of your choice of essential oil, and that's all I use.
You smell lovely.
And I'm Italian.
I mean, I'm very
saying
close.
Something.
Yeah, he's smelling great right now. Or I may be smelling my own mud mask.
A little bit of both.
I'm not sure. This is from an entrepreneur. How do you compete with larger companies?
We crush them. I mean, we're not, to me, everyone's our competition that's not telling the consumer the truth and is selling people bad health. Mm-hmm. It's not like I'm out I have to battle against Clinique.
Do you have a blog where you're out there sort of saying what you think is...
It's mostly through Facebook. We just started a blog on our .com that I'll start being more active with at the beginning of the year. It'll be linked to Facebook. Mm-hmm. But, I basically post a lot of stuff on my Facebook.
Now, Environmental Working Group, right?
EWG.
EWG.org? You would probably say it's a pretty good place for people to get educated about this stuff, right?
It is, but the main thing people have to understand is it's a very small nonprofit. It's not a government agency. They have limited resources. So when you're looking up a product, there's something called a data gap. And it shows you right there, but a lot of people look past it. The data gap is usually quite large. And so you have to look at that data gap and make your own decisions. For example, we have some products on there that are 3s and 4s because we use peppermint oil. Mm-hmm. And the data gap is that the fact they only have the information as if someone was drinking peppermint oil, which can kill you. If you were
it would be poisonous.
It's poisonous, but we're using it at 0.02%. It's actually really beneficial for the skin. It's stimulating blood flow, so forth and so on. So it's good to go out there and look at,
But someone can make that call too.
Yeah.
And they can toggle between you and Environmental Working Group. But,
right.
They kind of pulled the curtain back on a lot of this stuff, didn't they?
I mean, you look at some of the stuff on there, but there's things like sodium hydromethylglycinate or honeysuckle extract isn't even on there yet.
Right.
So it's in a product, but they don't know, their radar's not up that it's a toxin yet.
And you, I'm sure, are like, hello, Environmental Working Group.
I've been working
bugging
with them
a
for
lot?
No,
sending stuff to them?
They ask me, they just sent out a form asking me a bunch of questions. They really respect my opinion because I've been working with them since they started, and I think they're an amazing group of people. But they need funding. They need someone to come and help fund, and they can't ask the cosmetic companies to fund them.
Right.
That would be bad. And they don't advertise, so it's like they're on limited resources to try to get the word out, but the reality is boycotting's the answer. It's like, look, if you wouldn't eat it, you can't pronounce it, don't use it, and they will change.
But you do need ways to know, right? So there'll be your site, the things that you're doing to create transparency around the industry. It sounds like you'll get more aggressive about that going forward. Environmental Working Group, another.
Banners.
Is there anybody else within the industry that you really respect and who's putting some data out there for consumers so the consumers
absolutely.
know?
Dr. Bronner's is amazing. It's a 57-year-old company. My 2 friends that are the grandkids of the original Dr. Bronner's run it. And they're out there suing people, you know, like
Really?
just saying, stop the lies. Organic is a serious thing. You're talking about people's health. Don't tell people it's organic when you're still using carcinogens. And
So they'll sue another company who comes in.
well, they don't sue
if
other
they-
companies, but they press lawsuits against, you know, different organizations that allow people to use the word organic frivolously.
Okay.
You know, we don't have the resources to do that. I mean, we're a tiny brand, and,
Right.
but I mean, they've been amazing, and you know, they're like us. We'll actually promote them
Mm-hmm.
as a clean brand, and they'll do the same for us because we both believe in. It's not about my brand, my brand, my brand. It's about let's just get clean products to people.
Right.
Like let's make it available, an available resource for people. Because up until, you know, a few years ago, people had no clean skincare.
Yeah.
You know.
Have you ever had a product where it's out there and you're like, God, I really don't like this aspect or this ingredient? Have you ever felt like, oh, I want to change things?
Oh, we're constantly updating things. I mean, the liquid foamer hand soaps, they're going through the roof right now. For the past 5 years, they were in a pump and they were liquid.
Mm-hmm.
Because we use real soap and not synthetic surfactants like, you know, sodium lauryl sulfate. This is real soap. It's saponified olive and coconut oil. It was clogging up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it was like squirting people in the eye and on the shirt. I couldn't figure out how to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, I figured out how to reformulate it, keep the organic composition of the ingredients, but put it into a foamer so it no longer clogs up.
When you have a really passionate company such as your own and you've got a founder like yourself, I think you attract a different kind of customer.
Oh, yeah.
And
very vocal customers.
I was going to say that
82% of the 10,000 fans we have on Facebook interact with us every month.
so 8,000 people are interacting
8,000
with you.
people are interacting with us on Facebook every month.
How do you manage
Not
that?
that they're asking questions, but Facebook tells us that they're going to the fan page, they're interacting.
Yeah.
No, we wouldn't be able to manage.
Well, how do
8,000
you
questions.
listen, and how would you suggest another CEO listens to his customers or her?
Well, it's
customers?
simply that. Listen, you know, I had a friend that was using some skincare that touts itself as natural, and I said, well, there's these 3 ingredients in it, and she was furious. So she wrote them an email asking them, did you know that these 3 ingredients are, you know, on listed, I think, at EWG as blah, blah, blah.
Right.
They just sent her some BS blanket response that didn't answer her question at all and then offered her a free sample of something. You know, that's your average company. That's what they'll do.
Right.
And that's not how the future is going to play out.
Yeah.
People want to know where their money's going, what the products are doing, what they're doing for the environment, how they're impacting the world. And that consumer base is growing. It's like, if you're willing to work to earn money, to go out and support a product in your life, they better well damn like be telling you what they're doing
Yeah.
and what the product is. And, you know, like the whole cosmetic industry to me is lies. It's a lot of lies.
Do you ever have consumers actually inventing things for you or helping you?
Oh yeah, we get people all the time like,
Because the soap bartender tweeted in, tell Josh that super fatted hand soap, handmade soap, doesn't dry out your hair, especially if you use a vinegar rinse.
yeah, he's absolutely right. In fact,
She
is absolutely right. And I try to tell people this all the time. People are waiting for a hair care that comes out probably in about a year and a couple months from now. That in the meantime, if you don't want to use synthetic hair care, which is pretty much what's out there.
You know why I don't want to use shampoo is because of the bottle. I just don't want another plastic bottle in my life. So I use a
and I wish more.
and
people
I use
were
a
like
bar, and then I try to use a bar shampoo that my wife found me. And you said that's probably not so good either. But
the thing about the vinegar rinse, and what I want to answer your question is that it's amazing. You can use our shower gel, wash your hair, and use apple cider vinegar, and I do it once a month. But convincing the population to put vinegar in their hair, even though the scent goes away in 10 minutes, impossible.
yeah.
And I've tried to make a vinegar conditioner and mask the scent a little bit. And someday we might come out with that.
So you
But
smell vinegary.
yeah, just for 15, 20 minutes.
Oh, that's not too bad.
But your hair feels
Just
amazing.
don't have any meetings like right after the
And
shampoo.
you're like, you smell like French
So
fries.
if you're, someone Thut Goblins, I think. This guy's hair loss info is completely fictional. That whole thing about over shampooing is absolute fiction. Any response to that?
Well, I mean, I'd like to see where he's getting his data from. But
Where's your data come out on over shampooing?
I mean, it's all over the internet. I mean, you can see
The interwebs.
when the interweb, the World Wide Web, when you over shampoo your hair, eventually you're drying out your scalp, or what you're doing is you're drying it out and then your sebaceous glands are freaking out and telling it to produce more oil. It's the same thing. Like, I'm in stores all the time, and I'll see young girls come in. They say, I have really oily skin. I'm like, well, that's unfortunate because you don't have large pores. You shouldn't have oily skin. What are you using? And they'll say, like, I'm using Cetaphil or Neutrogena, and these are harsh surfactants. And people get addicted.
I thought Neutrogena, because it's clear and all that, it's like, and then on environmental working groups, Neutrogena, it's bad. Yeah.
I mean, what it's doing is drying out your skin, and then your skin freaks out and says, I have to produce more oil.
I'm like, it's clear. How bad could it be? I can see through it.
Well, that's why I tell people, when you see like an organic brand that's clear and on the back there's like 20 different herbal extracts, I'm like, do you really think these herbal extracts are in a completely clear bottle of shampoo or lotion?
Yeah.
No, it's just window dressing.
So someone asked, would you recommend the products here to kids?
Yeah, it's funny. I always say you start aging the second you're born. So I'm trying to put out a baby eye cream now. I mean, yeah, kids. I mean, absolutely. I wouldn't say that kids need to start using skincare, but the shower gels and liquid soaps and lotions, absolutely.
The question came in: how do you start moving products to the mainstream? I think a lot of entrepreneurs, they get to this space, and then how do you grow from there? Because you've got a really loyal following, but I imagine it's got to grow.
There's two ways to do it, and there's two things that I've been following. There's brands that are massive in different countries that do single level marketing. So instead of going to a store, they have like tens of thousands of people out in the market that just sell your products to their community, to their friends and family. And that's a way of getting products like this out to the masses. And obviously we don't do that. Then,
like an Avon?
Well, Avon I think is multi-level marketing, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know the terminology.
But the problem with multi-level marketing is that the products usually have the cheapest ingredients in the world because they have to pack in all the gross margin to be able to pay people in a multi-level marketing strategy. And the ingredients in our products, I mean, we have our rose oil and our lip balm cost $8,200 a pound.
This is the kind of company, though, and the kind of product that I think people would want to personally participate in.
Oh,
you probably find that
people
too.
ask us all the time if they could become ambassadors, and we have a lot of yoga teachers and people that are ambassadors that are just out there promoting the brand because they believe it and they use it.
And how about celebrities? Do you have any celebrities that are using it?
Yeah, I mean, we have, I don't know, probably 7 or 8 that have been quoted in, the celebrity magazines as using this product or that product. But a lot of major celebrities are actually bought out by large, cosmetic companies to only ever talk about their brand.
They're not allowed to.
Yeah, a lot. It's funny because we have a bunch of celebrities.
What do you pay your celebrities?
Millions. We don't pay anybody anything to talk about anything.
Yeah.
I've never have. In fact, I don't even give away a lot of free product because I always say if we have to give it away for free, it's not worth it.
Don't you do like the Hollywood gift bags or anything now? It's the perfect thing.
They cost money.
Really?
Tens of thousands of dollars.
You should be less cheap.
If people, because then I have to pack it into the price of the product, and then the product's going to cost too much for the people to afford it. But we give things for gift bags all the time if it's a free placement, absolutely. But if they're charging to do it, then what's the point?
Where would you want to be that you're not?
I mean, selling?
Selling, yeah.
I would say just more.com because we get to engage with our customers a little bit more.
More off of your .com?
Yeah.
More direct?
More direct. But I love our retailers like Whole Foods, Sephora. We have about 500 independents. They're amazing at spreading the word about what our products are about. I mean, I always play secret shopper. I go into a store and why is this product different? 9 out of 10 times they're like, well, this is actually the legitimate organic brand.
About yours?
About ours.
Oh, that's nice.
And people in the store know that. I mean, they know what they're selling versus what this is. And, our skincare is very reasonably priced. Our body care is pretty expensive compared to what people are used to simply because we're not using fillers. We're not using water-based ingredients. We're using actual ingredients. Yeah. It's a lot more expensive to saponify olive and coconut oil and jojoba than to use sodium hydromethylglycinate.
And cancer is super expensive too.
Chemo is like through the roof right now.
It's crazy.
Yeah. That's pretty much sometimes if I'm feeling honorary, people are like, but your stuff is so expensive. I'm like, so is cancer.
Yeah.
Because
But healthcare covers it. Healthcare, you need to get healthcare.
Not if it's a pre-existing condition. If you're using the shampoo before you've got your Blue Cross Blue Shield, you're out. And I hate saying it because it's not a funny matter, but
there's not a one-to-one relationship that's been, there's a correlation, I guess. But So what's new coming out? That's someone tweeted in.
Right now, hair care is basically what's big in the works. We have a new trial kit coming out that you can try most of our skincare products for $40 coming out this spring. Hair care is coming out next fall, knock on wood. And a few new products here and there. We have a new gel cleanser coming out in the spring. That's phenomenal. I actually just used the final product last night in the shower. Pretty excited about it. Yeah.
Packaging.
Yes.
There's probably a lot to talk about with packaging.
Massive.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm passionate about packaging. For example, I don't know, the bar soap that's down here is made with molded fiber, which is made from recycled shredded newspaper. And you can actually take that box and soak it and plant it, and it'll grow amaranth. It'll grow cascading purple flowers.
Oh, that's nice.
Really, really nice. You'll see that all of our packaging is screen printed. I went to a label manufacturer about 7 years ago.
Who did the design? Because I think it's great.
IDEO did our initial branding, and then Josh.
Never heard of him. IDEO?
Yeah, it's I think it's IDEO.
Yeah, IDEO.
IDEO. Yeah, it's a really, really long, funny story how I got hooked up with them, but I won't tell it right now.
But they're great folks.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And when I went to them with all my crazy ideas, and the reason why we have brown is light destroys the medicinal value of ingredients in 48 hours.
That's interesting.
So why would you buy a $200 cream? We don't sell anything that costs $200.
Yeah.
In a clear glass bottle.
But people are selling stuff that's
that if it actually had active ingredients, they'd be dead by the time you got them.
Interesting.
So everything we use is brown. So
that's true in beer too. That if you have good beer, it has to be in a brown bottle.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep.
The reason why there's the lemon.
Then why isn't Miller in a?
The reason why the lemon comes with the lime
Yeah.
with what's that beer?
Corona.
Yeah. Is because it's skunky. You can't get it.
It's funny because I researched this once, and there's 7 different stories about that.
Well,
There's this one marketing company that said it was actually a bartender on a bet that started it somewhere in Chicago.
I'm sure somebody started it, but the reason why everyone likes to do it is because the beer comes
tastes better.
skunky because it's clear. A clear bottle kind
Makes
of
sense.
not good for beer.
Yeah, especially
Not
drinking
good
in
for
the hot
cosmetics
Mexico
either.
sun.
What about petroleum packaging and stuff? So much cosmetics and shampoos and things. They're in these squeezy sort of containers.
Yeah, the big problem is in America, there's only so much you can put in glass. So our body care, things that are in the shower could break, are in plastic. But it's HDP number 2. We're actually looking to move to 100% post-consumer regrind. But all of our skincare, which can be in glass, is. So we heavily believe in the use of glass.
I love glass.
And you'll see that we actually screen print right on the bottle, so there's no waste in labeling.
It's beautiful.
And then this box is an FSC certified paper. So I think it's 40% FSC certified and 60% post-consumer. But the other thing we did is we created an origami fold box. See, a lot of boxes are made with a glue strip, and that glue is toxic, and it's actually not recyclable. It gets burned up, causes more pollution. We created an origami box that doesn't require any glue, and then instead of creating one of those giant inserts that's in all skincare, we actually just printed on the inside of the box. And then look, you get a free sample inside.
That's really cool.
I can exfoliate you after the mask comes off.
We'll do that. Not many people, I think, would take the trouble to try to figure out a box that doesn't have glue because the glue is toxic.
Yeah. I have a lot of spare time in between the baths.
You must. Who helped you with figuring that out?
We designed this in-house. Josh Ivey, our designer,
Really?
actually designed this and then printed on the inside.
Yeah.
So we eliminated that little insert that goes in there. We eliminated the glue strip. And it has tons of information on it, and that's what people need, is more information about the product.
What I love about glass is if it winds up in the ocean, it turns into these little pieces of glass called sand.
And then hippies wrap it in hemp.
And then and then also before that, it's sort of that collectible glass, which is really nice. You've got it pre-frosted, ready for entry. The top though, right?
Not recyclable.
Not at all. Not happy with that probably yet.
Nope. There's no option. There's no option.
There's people working on things though, right?
Tons.
I mean, I see information about.
If I had it that way, it would just be like a cork dipped in wax.
So with shampoo bottles and things like that, the solution in your mind is just to get to a more sustainable kind of plastic?
Well, actually, the reason why I originally went to IDEO is I had this vision that everybody has a set of bottles in their life. Because plastic is amazing if you use it properly. It'll last your whole lifetime.
Right.
I mean, you can use an HDP...
Unless you live more tthan 20,000 years.
Which is technology.
Yeah,
which is coming. I mean, what am I, 82 now?
You may never die.
I may never die.
You may just get in under the wire. Yeah.
But my goal was that people have this, they buy a set of Pangea bottles and they go to the store while they're shopping. They put the bottles into the machine washes them and refills them and recaps them. And by the time you're done shopping, you grab your cleanser, your cream, your toner, your shampoo, and away you go.
Yeah. So a perfect little closed loop.
Yep. And I still have that vision, and someday before I'm 10,000 years old, I'll finish it.
I think you could. I think that is a reasonable vision.
Absolutely. It's just really expensive.
Right.
I need like P&G to develop it so I can use it.
Yeah. Or you need to partner with somebody. Just keep thinking about it. Someone will come along. Someone out there may know how to do this and want to partner with you.
Do you guys know how to make a machine that does this?
I don't know if the machine is really the complexity. It's just,
Well, if I had a retail store, we would.
You would do that yourself.
Yeah, we'd probably take their bottles and exchange them.
Yeah.
And so that the next time they come back, they're refilled.
There's something about the way we've accepted as consumers that when we buy something, it becomes our problem in terms of end of use.
Yeah.
And retailers are starting. Best Buy is doing a recycling thing. Retailers are starting to say, no, end of use can be our problem.
Yeah.
But for most things that doesn't exist, and having a retail store would be a great way for you. It's one of the only ways now to do that.
Yep.
Are you going to do a store?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's holding you back? Maybe
money.
there's another partner out there that wants to
need
open.
Money.
Someone out there. I think this brand feels like it has a big enough expression and a big enough point of view that it could be curated into a store. I think so. You don't use sunscreen. Someone tweeted in. So what do you use?
I use sunscreen.
Oh, you don't make sunscreen?
No.
Is what
it's
they
coming.
Say. So
it's in the works. Probably summer 2012. We're trying to wait out to see if the Mayan calendar is right, to see if the world's really going to end.
You don't want to make a move before then.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like, if the world's going to end, do you really need SPF? No.
Or maybe the way it's going to end, you need an awesome SPF.
Yeah, you need like SPF 2000.
And you can make it through.
The anti-Mayan calendar cream.
So why? What's the problem with sunscreens? We haven't really touched on that.
There's a couple problems. I mean, they just came out with data that actually says a lot of the sunscreens on the market aren't actually protecting us from cancer. They're just protecting us from burning. 85% of the sunscreens on the market are chemical-based sunscreens. The other 15% use zinc or titanium dioxide, which are great if they're not nanoparticleized, but most of them are. And the only clean, really good sunscreens on the market are super pasty. It's like Elmer's glue on your face.
Yeah. So what do you use?
I just use a really big hat.
Okay.
No, I try to, there's always these small brands popping up. I actually, right before I came here, I bought some because I'm going up to Jackson for the next 10 days. And you go out to the high country in the snow and you burn. Yeah. So I just bought a company that I honestly can't tell you the name of it, but it's out of New Mexico and it's in a tub. And it actually says...
Is it secret, the name? Is that what you can't
No,
tell me,
the branding... Yeah. Sorry if you're listening to this, the branding wasn't that good.
Well, they're not going to know.
Well, I think it's the only sunscreen that comes in a tub.
Oh, okay.
So you're like... See, when I'm using sunscreen, generally I'm in a circumstance that I don't really care that I have paste on
What
my
do you
face.
look like?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So you just become very...
Yeah, I'm just like a...
pasty white.
Casper.
What's nano...
Nanoparticleization is when you take something and you basically blow it up until the particles can pass in between cell membrane walls. Yeah. Which the jury is still out if this is actually safe for the human race. And all around us right now, there's millions of nanoparticles floating around, and no one's controlling our.
Best to try it first. Right?
Oh yeah, I mean it's like GMOs.
Yeah.
Let's put a bunch of them out there, let the pollen fly around, and see if we all die.
Yeah. That's our way. Yeah. So do you know ESOP products? Have you ever heard of ESOP products?
I know them very well. Are they clean? No.
Well, so the question is, what about a dropper like ESOP products? But we can broaden it to, what do you think of ESOP products?
I mean, I love their branding, actually. I love their packaging and their branding, but they have a lot of chemicals in their product. But I do like their droppers. And the droppers, they only use for certain products, like their serums. Yeah. And so when we come out with serums, absolutely glass dropper. But the droppers still have a rubber and plastic component to them. Mm-hmm. But I do love...
A little bit better, though.
A little bit better.
Incrementally
But no one's going to buy, scrub in a dropper. Doesn't work. You won't get it out. You will not be able to exfoliate that day.
You were talking about scars. And you've got a concoction that you're...
Yeah, 4 years ago, I created an anti-scarring oil. Just based on like the fact that 22 million Americans get cut under the knife in surgery a year, and 63 Americans have reported scarring incidents. And I looked out in the market, and everything that was on the market was garbage and had chemicals in it. So I created this product, and I was out on a motorcycle ride on the West Coast with my good friend Peter, and he decided to pick up the ball and run with it and started a company. And it comes out next spring. It's called Celsius Biointelligence.
So you did some formulation, and then are you involved with Celsius, or
I'm on the board.
You're on the board?
Yeah, but he's taking it and running with it.
And so 22 million Americans, are scarred per year, or choose to be scarred.
I mean, that doesn't include
or
emotional scars.
Right. You don't have a cream for that. Yeah. That's all this. That's this right here. Yeah. And what's the big scar cream now? Like who's
Mederma.
Mederma
is the 800-pound gorilla in the market. I mean, they've been around. I forgot what the name of the parent company is in Germany. But, they're a pretty large brand. They have TV commercials.
And what's in Mederma? How does that
work? They
work?
use one extract, onion bulb extract, in there. And from what I can tell, is a very small amount. But I found the
Onion bulb?
Onion bulb.
Would it work to just like rub onion on a scar?
Yeah, mostly the yellow onions. I mean, if you're going to do the vinegar rinse, you might as well just put some onions under the armpit and start rubbing it around. Right. No, it's I think it's like a holistic form of anti-scarring. It helps skin cell regeneration. But we took a different approach, same approach as a Pangea. There's 22 active ingredients, not just one.
Okay.
So you have to approach a scar with different types of formulations.
And it's not going to make it go away.
On some new cuts, absolutely. But to get a scar to completely go away, no, we're never going to claim that. I mean, it's going to fade it dramatically. Yeah.
But you won't be rubbing. Are there chemicals in?
No chemicals.
And are there in Mederma?
Absolutely. I don't know what they are.
And why? If what works is this onion.
Because chemicals are cheap. Let me give you an example. Our preservative system, which is natural and organic.
So it's just like to fill it with something?
Costs 43 cents for like an 8-ounce bottle. If you use like sodium hydromethylglycinate or, one of the parabens, it's like a penny.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, that's the big, like saponifying extra virgin organic olive oil, coconut, jojoba, and hemp versus, like cocoa methylpropylbutane.
Where do you get this stuff? Where is it made? Like,
this?
Why is it the one I can't pronounce?
There's huge companies that make ingredients. So they'll make sodium lauryl sulfate, cocoa methylpropylbutane, and you buy them and then you mix them with water and fragrance and you stick them in a bottle.
And it's just a big tub, like a big tub would arrive and.
Well, they come in drums. Drums, and the drums get dumped into vats, and then you add your fragrance, your hopes and dreams for a better future, and then you put it in a bottle. And
how do those companies make that stuff? What's the raw ingredient to?
Sodium lauryl sulfate can be made from any kind of fat like coconut, and then it's reacted with petrochemicals.
Is it just because these things are made in such mass quantities that they're cheaper, or is it that the raw ingredients are cheaper?
Well, it's petroleum. It's petroleum reacted. It's petroleum reacted organic compounds, which is basically, inevitably what it is. But a lot of the stuff is fully synthesized, But there's also these tricks in the market, like. A lot of natural products are emulsified with vegetable emulsifying wax. And so the consumer's like, oh, it's peas and carrots mixed up and then boom.
Yeah.
Vegetable emulsifying wax is like 90% petroleum. It's just a name for something.
It's like a brand name? Like you can rename petroleum vegetable something?
Yep.
That's
because there's probably some kind of soybean oil in there somewhere.
You just need a little bit.
Yeah,
Who regulates naming? That's what we got to figure out.
The CMO of the company.
Yeah.
I see your lines starting to disappear, by the way.
So someone asked, what are your credentials? Are you a biochemist?
No, I'm an alchemist. I dropped out of school when I was 16.
Wow. And you've done okay.
Yeah, I've done okay.
That's nice.
I know
That's
about
you're
your
CEO. So why'd you drop out of school? What happened?
I never really quite liked school.
Yeah.
I just never liked it. As soon as I was legally able to drop out, my parents let me drop out and started working odd jobs and traveling. I spent several years traveling and working and traveling and working, and then had this epiphany in Angkor Wat in Cambodia to start a company that kind of emulated my beliefs about the DNA of brands and social and environmental stewardship as a brand in the world.
How long ago was that?
That was 2000 is when I moved here from Cambodia and started Pangea.
So Pangea's been going since 2000, or did it take a while to
Well,
get
I
it
started
going?
making soap in 2000, and then we moved 3 years later. We made some shower gels, but it wasn't until
And where'd you sell it? Did you go to the farmer's market?
farmers markets,
Yeah.
church bazaars, parking lot of Red Rocks,
Yeah.
Oregon Country Fair. You know,
There's a lot of cool stories like that in Boulder, and companies that have become massive and that have started that way. And it's something interesting for people out there to think about, because it seems to get to zero to where you are, and I know you want to go further, but to get to where you are, it seems impossible, and perhaps it is. But to take those little steps into it.
well, we're often defeated by the concept and not the reality.
Mhm.
We're defeated by this concept of failure and not the reality of success.
That's pretty good.
It's just for you.
That's good. Well, whoever's watching gets that too. Do you have any other words for people who want to? They've got dreams. I mean, so many people have dreams. Almost everyone you meet has got a dream of something that they'd like to do, and very few people, it seems, act on it.
I just always say, if you see something that you're really passionate about, just go for it. We had one of my best friends, Tom, that I traveled around the world with. We always had this concept when we were confronted with, oh, we can go into the jungle for 7 days with nothing but a machete.
Yeah.
It's like, well, the worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to die.
Yeah.
So try everything. I mean, when life says, hey, do you want to go jump off this cliff?
A lot of people are way more afraid than that, though.
Yeah, but why?
Well, I don't know. That's it. Yeah, we're working on that.
We have a lot of attachments to things in life, but the reality is that things are never going to complete us or make us happy. Experiences, things, people, all these things we have to realize that we were born already complete.
Yeah.
We're done. Everything else is just an
So
addition.
why do anything?
Because I want, basically my dream is to leave the world better than when I found it. And I feel like if we're not here to do that, what the hell are we doing here? Just buying cars and consuming stuff and eating and
yeah.
I mean,
But do you also use it as a way to just kind of teach yourself and learn things and learn
absolutely.
about yourself?
I'm learning things right now talking to you.
I think that we I've always said that about work. Work is sort of like this very culturally accepted process for learning about yourself.
Mm-hmm. Just like relationships.
Yeah. And there's some processes that are less accepted,
Such as?
Well, I don't think a lot of people think meditation's weird and things like that. But
Ayahuasca ceremonies in the desert.
But some people use work to discover themselves, and other people use it just to try to get a paycheck.
Yep.
What about baby steps? Is there anything? Because it sounds like you started with baby steps in a way. Like you made it. First, you made a bunch.
Right? I mean, if you want to do something, you just have to start doing it.
Yeah.
You can't sit there and contemplate it for a dozen years.
There's no perfect plan.
No, just start doing it.
How much of what's happened with you and Pangea is something that you had envisioned, and how much of it is a path that you didn't expect and twists and turns that you didn't expect?
Well, it's a perfect storm of both, right? So I had this concept of what I wanted to do. I had no business background. I had no idea what I was doing, but I just started doing it.
Mm-hmm.
When I moved to Boulder, I started making soap in my garage and selling it at the farmers market and on the Pearl Street Mall, and then got our first retail account out of someone I met in a parking lot of Red Rocks after a concert. And then it got to a point where I had to buy so many essential oils and raw materials I couldn't afford my rent, so I rented a studio, and I moved into the studio, and then we got a factory, and the company got bigger, and I couldn't afford rent still. Couldn't afford the rent of the factory, so we started having all-night raves to pay for the rent once a month, and
you would throw like raves.
Oh yeah, big parties
built on raves.
So
you charge for the raves.
We charge for the raves,
and
Lines
that's
out the door.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But so some people would have dumped the cosmetic idea and said, "We're a rave company."
Yeah. It doesn't have much of a future.
For some people, it probably seemed.
I still go to raves. I think they're great. Dance all night.
But you stayed on this vision.
Stayed on the path.
Yeah.
I started getting more passionate about skincare once I realized I was good at alchemy. I was good at formulating. People liked what I made, and that nobody else was approaching the market with organic products that work. And that's what I've been saying for several years, is like, you have to make products that work. No one is going to buy a $50 mud mask just because we're doing good and it's clean. It has to deliver results above and beyond what anybody is thinking about in the market ever. And that's what we're doing.
How do you test that? What's the process for defining efficacy?
People have to use it and have that experience. When you go into a market like Sephora where people expect performance, they're expecting performance, they're dropping a lot of money that they worked hard for and they want performance, you have to deliver it. And if you don't deliver it, you don't survive.
Yeah. Have you had any products that went out there and just like, meh?
Nope.
Really?
Nope. No, everything, all the skincare products. Like lip balm is always my favorite story. I never used lip balm before.
Yeah.
I believe in hydrating your skin from the inside with hemp oil and essential fatty acids. And everybody wanted a Pangea lip balm. So I went out and I researched all the lip balms and I realized most of what's on the market actually dries your lips out. Like peppermint oil based products, people end up licking their lips and the peppermint oil dries out your lips. So I went out and formulated a lip balm with ingredients that actually cure chapped lips. You have like chapped lips and you want to cure them.
Yeah.
This is what you buy. And by the time we were done, it took me 1.5 years to formulate it, and the tube cost $12. And a lot of people didn't want us to launch it. They're like, it costs $12, no one's going to buy it. I'm like, look, we're either going to put out something that works, or we're not going to put it out.
So the little tube costs $12.
Yeah,
it's a
big tube, so it's twice the size.
A little tiny tube costs $12. I'm kidding.
It's like this big. No.
So
but people, it's now like our number 3 selling product.
Really?
Nationwide, because people started using it. It tastes good. It feels good, but it cures chapped lips. And that's what other lip balms just don't do.
They do. They definitely do the opposite. Because like the minute you start using lip balm, it feels like you're done. You're on it. It's an oral fixation. Right? Yeah. Well, you're addicted to it. Yeah. Someone asked if you use Badger Balm
for
sunscreen. Ever heard of them?
I actually used it for the past 2 years. In fact, they are friends of ours. We actually made their bar soap for a while. They're an amazing family, amazing company, super clean products. And the Badger Balm SPF works absolutely. And the reason why I switched today is because when I went to Whole Foods, they were actually out of the one I normally buy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Big fan of Badger Balm, though.
Big fan. Great products.
So
and they use no chemicals.
You can tweet in questions to Fearless Force at Fearless Force, and we'll read them here. And we got a ton.
Should we throw out one of our Fearless
We should
deals?
give away some stuff. Yeah.
Well, what I was going to say is if you...
What do you want to give away?
If you go to our Facebook page and just...
We're almost out of time. We got to give away a ton of stuff real fast.
If you go to our Facebook page and just post how you like the show, you'll have a chance to win one of our mud masks that Alex is sporting right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And if you go to our website, I think for the next 2 weeks and buy $75 worth of stuff, they're going to give you a $40 mud mask and a $14 shower gel for free. And at the end and checkout, you type in Fearless, all capitals, it's case sensitive, and you'll get that free shower gel and that free mud mask when you spend $75.
So we should give away some stuff to like good questions that came in.
We're going to give away everything that's here on the table.
We'll give away everything.
Except for your hand soap, because you guys have been using it.
So, tweet us some questions now, and if there's some that we read, we'll this Badger Balm one just keeps coming in. You want to give Badger Balm something? Yeah. So we'll send something to
Buy Badger Balm. The bombs and...
Travis S. is going to score something. What else was... I really like the one about the vinegar rinse. That was
is a good one, because that takes someone who knows their saponification.
Yes. The soap bartender.
Bartender, do you make your own skincare? Because if you don't, we'll give you some skincare.
I imagine they're making their own soap if they're called soap bartender.
No, I think they're making their own soap, but not their own facial care.
So they need some facial care. Yeah. So we'll send some of that. One of the questions that we sort of covered, but we really didn't, was the inspiration for the bottle design. Was there inspiration?
Yeah. Well, the first thing was brown. Like everything had to be brown.
Right.
And some of the other things that I really try to educate people on is that our ingredients come from 52 different countries. We have 152 ingredients, 52 different countries, and there are people growing these ingredients. And a lot of people don't know this, but women grow 87% of the world's food. And they own 1% of the world's land. So you'll see on our packaging, 5% of our profits.
I don't know where you get your statistics, but I like them.
They're from that Magic 8 Ball thing.
I don't even care.
We give 5% of our profits to Women for Women International. It's an amazing nonprofit that empowers women in post-war developing countries. And it's because, the reality is women make better decisions when it comes to community.
For sure.
And women need to own more than 1% of the world's land. So
for sure.
That's one of my passions. But
5%'s a big number, too.
It is a big number.
How'd you come up with that number? Because,
5 fingers.
Patagonia,
1% for the planet.
which is a great program.
Huge fan of Patagonia.
Yeah, but Casey was on the show, the CEO of Patagonia, and I said, why not 2%? I mean, it is a curious question, right? But 5's a lot.
Yeah.
It's 5 times what 1 is.
But my whole thing about brands is that it's great to give money back, but your entire brand, the DNA of your brand, is what should be giving back. I mean, at Pangea we pay a living wage, so it's 2.5 times the federal minimum wage. We pay full health, medical, dental, and vision. We give 5% to Women for Women. But what I was getting to was the way we name products. So this is Chilean red clover with geranium and grapefruit. And I really wanted to remind people that there are farmers all over the world growing the ingredients that are in this product. And at any one time, you're in the shower with at least 17 different communities that have produced the raw materials to make this product. This is not cocoa propyl butane and sodium hydromethylglycinate. This is real ingredients from the land into your product. And
that's a cool idea.
And so all of our products are named after the country of origin of the main ingredient.
What is this? What do I do with this?
Well, you can do lots of things, but right now on air, I just want you to moisturize your hands.
Okay. We'll keep it clean.
Do you feel the oils breaking open as you?
I don't. I am not I have not cared for my skin.
Feel it smell though.
It smells awesome. It smells awesome, and I've just been like. It's been one of I haven't been that soft of a guy,
Now you are.
I'm softening up, as a human being, and it's a difficult process for me. But
start with your skin and with your heart.
I'm starting with the heart, and it's working its way out. It just now got to my skin, so
I'm glad we could be part of the process.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we're pretty much out of time.
Thanks for having us.
We're excited that everybody was able to tune in, and thanks for all the questions. I think that was the most questions we've ever gotten, actually.
Nice.
So,
and if you have more, feel free to go to our Facebook, ask them on our wall. It's the holidays, so it'll take a little time, but we get back to everybody.
He seems to be very open to having a conversation with his consumers. So,
absolutely.
Kudos for all the transparency and continued success.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate
awesome.
it.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
We'll pretend to talk.
Shoot the flag, shoot the breeze, discourse dialogue, bring to light to be revealed.